I fucking hate horror games. I fucking hate being scared. I don't enjoy it. I never have. To help put it in perspective for you, tiny baby Perk used to play video games before they could even fucking remember. I had a disc for my Sega Dreamcast that was like a demo disc. It had like 3 games on it. It was like Sonic Adventure 2, a Bass Pro Fishing game, and then House of the fucking Dead. I played the same Sonic level tons of times. I played the fishing game a fuck ton, and I played House of the Dead a total of 3 times. 2 of those times definitely 100% left me scared and with fucking nightmares. This was the fucking gameplay. This was it. It was an on-rails shooter, dude. Like, what? I legit hated this game. Even the trailer being on when I was on the selection screen freaked me out. Okay, actually, in doing research for this, I did find the actual disc, and this is it. This literally changes nothing, except for the fact that I had more games that I could play that were definitely not House of the Dead. All of this was just to say, I always hated horror. So when talks of a new Resident Evil started in the gaming sphere, honestly, I never wanted to play any Resident Evil. And besides the total of 5 hours I put in Resident Evil 5, where I played the beginning with like 3 separate friends in 3 separate occasions in broad daylight with my room lights on, I had no intention of playing any more of such a frightening, fear-inducing, petrifying, dread-infested. So I was really interested in finding out what made this series so damn good and such a critically acclaimed masterpiece in the minds of horror fanatics everywhere. Did that seem believable? Fuck. Resident Evil as a series has been a staple in gaming history ever since its inception in 1996, when it first dropped, and it made absolute waves in the industry. As the brainchild of Shinji Mikami, what originally began as an idea to rip off a previous Capcom success in Sweet Home turned out to revolutionize and reinvent what video games, and horror video games in particular, were and could be. I always respected the Resident Evil series. As an amateur video game historian, I love what it did in bringing so many new revolutionary storytelling techniques and popularizing a lot of technical gameplay staples that elevated my favorite medium to its current heights. From the simple act of giving the player the chance to fight back horrors that are still there, to popularizing hidden load-in screens, and pacing a story based in horror aesthetics, all simple parts of modern horror games and game design in general that were either put in place, reinvented, or made brand new for this IP. This game created back in 1996 was meant to give you one main feeling. The feeling that in this terrifying scenario, you control the outcome. The key to this is based on the classic feeling of watching a horror movie and thinking, how the hell did that fucking happen?
Why would you do this?
I would never have done that.
This game was based on the idea that now you get to prove it.
What is that?
I'll go and check.
Mikami puts you in this terrifyingly cramped, claustrophobic mansion with a mysterious circumstance, making everything look like a possible threat. It reinforces its settings with eerie music and freaky sound effects that makes your hands sweaty, and your friends sitting on the couch late at night with you maybe even spill your mom's spaghetti. The controls, even back then, were clunky, but not without reason. It felt wrong in all the right ways because it would force you to think in moments where thinking could possibly get you killed. It made you at times emulate the feeling of being the blonde bitch that trips in the woods, and then the game treats you to a screen that taunts you with the same visceral disgust you would use towards your favorite characters in the horror movies. Something akin to, how could you die there? In playing this game, you're no longer the passive viewer. It's your fault when you get killed because of the stress of not having your progress saved. Because you wanted more bullets instead of picking up an ink ribbon and saving. You momentarily freak out and you get murdered by the enemies you thought you knew how to defeat. You get to have that weight on you, and there is no one except you, the player, to blame. It's one of those times in gaming where we get to truly show why our medium is so vastly different than others. Because no book, no movie can hand you the controller and say,
fucking do it then.
A prisoner with no parole.
Allegedly, the best show of this idea for Capcom and the RE team was their mainline entry before Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 was one of the most bone-chilling Resident Evil games to touch the face of this bloody timeline. I didn't even look at footage of this game unless I was fucking inebriated. Bro, I gotta edit this. Fuck off. It brought a claustrophobic and grungy realness to a series that had been playing into an over-the-top action vibe for quite a while. Hell, this game's only major complaint was having a low completion rate because people were fucking terrified. That shift and return to pure scares that were missed in the series for quite a while, honestly, was met with a great reception, selling over 10.2 million copies since its release on January 24th, 2017. This solidified the game as the second best-selling Capcom game of all time. 10.2 million sold also puts it as the best-selling Resident Evil game at the time of this recording, and about 8% of the Resident Evil series sales sold for the series in total. That may not seem like a ton, but consider the fact that there are 146 different entries in the series between mainline series, spin-offs, and pachinko machines? RE7 was the last mainline game release that wasn't a remake that made such a significant splash, and it left fans new and old with a new character and storyline to latch onto in Ethan Winters. Fans enjoyed this new character and felt there was more to be done with such an interesting new face in the Resident Evil roster. They weren't sure where it could go, but luckily they wouldn't have to wait super long to find out.
タカの本当信頼してるので、もう彼に一任はしてるんですけど。
Having started its pre-production in the final months leading up to RE7's beta and release, Capcom decided to assume RE7 would be big and that it should have a sequel, and that it should continue Ethan's storyline. The producers plucked one of the mainline writers from RE7, Morimasu Sato, from his position to be the director of this new idea. The producers had a few things that they wanted. Bring in new players, make it in a village because it sounds cool, and use Ethan and his friends because we think people will like them. Let's see how they did.
Don't get too close to me when I'm cooking, babe.
The first thing this game had to fight was attracting and allowing new players to get invested without them having to have played literally any other Resident Evil. Hi, I haven't played any other Resident Evil, so let me tell you how I felt. Village starts off with a storybook being read to a baby by Mia. A lot of symbolism and gorgeous aesthetic animation takes place, but before that, on the main menu is an option to get a recap of the previous game. So let's start there. Since I have very limited knowledge, I've got like the overview. I would love to know, as much as this game was supposed to be new people friendly, it doesn't track that this option isn't on the front screen, at least on the initial start. I knew to look for it since it was part of some of the advertisements, but I don't think it's people's first thought when they're getting a new game. Either way, mark that as you would. It did do an okay job of giving me a quick gist of everything going on, even if it was a little fast-paced. Continuing. The game officially opens up to Ethan and Mia in their house with their daughter Rose, who has just read the creepiest storybook Mia apparently had access to. You put the baby to bed and go to have a nice one-on-one dinner with the love of your life when all of a sudden...
Mia, get down! Mia!
It's a bad time. You wake up in a snowy-ass forest and meander your way through some old-looking houses to meet a paranoid old dude who almost blasts your fucking brains out.
No!
But to his credit, he's right to be paranoid because he gets... Yeah. Anyway, it sends us running into the titular village we are to be existing in for the rest of our time in this game. After being physically assaulted by a bunch of sexually frustrated mutant furries and a giant rejected cats character with a hammer drops on us, they get recalled by the sound of some weird ass horn and leave us injured and seeing an old hag who looks like she'd be able to tell me my past, present, and future if I gave her a coconut and some thumbtacks. Follow her into the village some more and she talks about a Mother Miranda and how she brought our stolen daughter here, although she quite conveniently leaves out where, why, or even if she's fucking alive. After she's done cackling and hobbling off, we are left to roam the village till we make our way to a cabin guarded by more furries trying to yip us. Inside, we meet survivors of the village and make our way through a puzzle to let us into the... However, shock, surprise, the Angie dad we met, who was bleeding excessively, was bitten.
You're being such a fucking queen right now.
It's a small thing, but it really throws the feng shui out of whack. Anyway, we set that bitch on fire and go to escape, but Ethan has some weird damn attachment to this girl he literally just met, and why are we talking in a fire? We can get out of the fire and talk! I wasn't a fan.
Elena, no. That's not him. Not anymore.
Bitch, take him. I wasn't a fan. Bye, bitch. I wasn't a fan. I know it was like supposed to show the misfortune Ethan has, but like it felt super forced. Literally, I care more about the old nigga that got yoinked in the beginning of this shit. I digress. After giving a new definition to neighborhood barbecue, we puzzled, hollered at the hag, then fucked off to find ourselves in the waiting hands of a sultry voiced cigar smoking cyborg.
Didn't think anyone was left.
Then we were taken to see her.
I've heard.
Oh, I can. Oh God, please hold on. This is important. In this scene, we meet our villains. Creepy, fishy, zaddy, mommy, all led by the maiden Delusional. I mean Miranda. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little preoccupied. Where's the zoom? During this part, to hear what their plans were, but I know that it ended with,
That's right. Run for your life.
yeah, I ran and escaped death 100% successfully. I said successfully. Anyway, we got out and met our last major cast member in the gargantuan guide known as the Duke.
Thank you for your patronage.
After this, we had finished this game's tutorial. A pretty natural feeling into the tutorial, and that gets points for me. Around here is where we are let loose from the early game's confines to play amongst Lady D's glorious castle. But not before...
Man blood.
Mother, I bring you fresh prey.
You are so kind to me, daughters.
Here we are introduced to Mommy. I'm sorry, Mommy. I'm sorry, Mommy. Get it together, damn it. Titties. Fuck! Big titty vampire mommy milkers located. Esket it. Now, let's talk about my entire reason for playing this bloody fucking game. The thing that took the internet by storm and what ended up becoming this game's face for most of its advertising campaign. Though, I don't know if that was their plan or not. Okay, it's time for a game. Resident Evil's YouTube has 5 official trailers for RE Village. On screen are the dates of their releases. This is Resident Evil's Twitter account on Social Blade. Which trailer do you think had Lady D? This is Resident Evil we're talking about. And this is the only trailer to have more than 3 million views on the whole fucking channel. It's been a long panini, dude. I don't know what to tell you. The internet's down bad, man. Hi.
I'm part of the internet.
She single-handedly earned them almost 40,000 followers in a fucking month. And with her face soon to become the face of their entire advertising campaign, we can kindly attribute that next almost 42,000 to her as well. 82,000 followers, cause she's hot. 82,000 followers, it's insane. 82. I had this from a bit earlier, but now I'm just fucking out, dude. She played a massive part of their advertising, but no one fully knew what she would be until we finally got our hands on the game. The speculation was there, but we wouldn't fully know until we were actually in the Castle Dimitrescu, and after meeting Alicina a little more formally. Well, after that, and a passionate disagreement with her daughter, Bella. Look, Bella really wanted to continue living after trying to murder me and shit, and, well... I didn't want her to. We agreed to disagree. After that little spat, though, Lady D is less than happy?
You come into my house. You lay your filthy man hands on my daughters, and now you even try to steal my property. Harder, Daddy.
She then begins to constantly chase you through the mansion, minus a couple of safe spots just so you don't get stuck.
He's just standing there, menacingly.
This makes it to where you can't feel totally safe at any given point, and that there's always this chance of danger that you don't want stopping you in what would otherwise be a mundane time of exploration. The moments of seeing Lady Dimitrescu outside the door or down the hall or even just popping up right in front of you as you're fixated on a puzzle or collectible are genuinely freaky, and they keep a good amount of tension in what would otherwise just be kind of an atmospheric-ish set. It works pretty well. While going through the castle, you have to slowly dispatch all the daughters at specific intervals. They never seem perfectly placed, so like, it always feels like you genuinely stumble across them. Wait, they're both here? Wait, I've never had this! Which is pretty great. Personally, I think placing all these mini boss fights in like specific areas like they do keeps the exploration feeling fresh and spontaneous, and also scary. You do all of this while being stalked by Lady D until you finally meet her after collecting all the thingamajigs that the game gave you for some reason or another. Ah, holy shit! Okay, listen. Okay. Eventually it gives you the way to take her down, and it makes her transform into a monstrous beast that you must fight in a climactic battle. It's all on the inside! After this, you find a jar and take it back to the Duke, just for him to tell you that that's your daughter, fool. And all the other lords apparently also have pieces of her hiding around, so have fun, mate.
Furthermore, I can assure you that you entrust the mortal to House Dimitrescu. My daughters and I will deliver to you.
Play ugly! I want to see!
This is the basic premise and formula that's repeated in different settings with different thingamajigs that let you out of each lord's play area. Lady Dimitrescu and her castle had masks that hid the knife that was made to kill Alicina. House Beneveniento took your weapons and had you play hide and seek or die with a key as your reward to let you out. Moreau's reservoir had a crank used to turn on the electricity for the gate you used to get out of the reservoir, and actually also has you finding new ways to absolutely destroy this fishy fuck self-confidence.
Oh, you're a disgusting tentacle crawfish thing, dude.
Yeah, this Morosoka's disgusting. Lastly, Heisenberg's factory requires you to find plates to literally make the keys that lets you get out of there. And then out of all the things, you have to find Chris to have him literally hand you the keys to a tank. Cool, so y'all coming with me or not? Shit gets wild. Big red glowy bits go boom. Now the way I said that probably makes the gameplay sound meh at best, but the variation on how these things are executed with the enemies you face, the bosses, the mini bosses, and like settings, paired with like the common return to the titular village, gives you room to breathe so that things never can feel too samey. The village acted as a main area for all the connecting modules that would be the Lord's and Miranda's play areas. Even with the village being small on arrival, the more you play and explore, the more that you expand it, and it feels supernatural. The other fun part is that it is dynamically updated. It's not just safe because you cleared it once. New enemies will find you, new areas bring new life to old ones, and a lot of times it also brings new ways to interact with it as well. The only negative thought I have with the gameplay immediately, at least in regards to the village, was that I regularly couldn't tell if I was just missing stuff or if I just needed to come back later after I played a bit more. There's definitely like the main annoyance of seeing something that you can't have at that moment. One of the downsides to having natural puzzles is that it can make you feel dumb when you literally aren't supposed to figure it out yet. Speaking of puzzles, most of the puzzles felt really good, felt doable, felt clever. The game felt good to play. My PC is pretty solid and I did not have to fight for frames like too many times. Except for like this fight with Cassandra where I literally had to drop my quality to low just to make it look like an old style movie projector in terms of FPS.
Oh god, you're so hot. Especially in slow-mo.
However, I didn't really run into a lot of bugs. Maybe some visual giggles and interesting interactions, but nothing stopped the story from me. Well, except one issue.
God, you're terrifying. Kind of attractively terrifying. Please stop.
I said get your hands off
Okay.
her. All clear.
No.
Package secure, sir.
Get him.
The one consistent issue I did run into that did dampen my experience playing this game was this weird ass desync of sound in the cutscenes. It wasn't easy to ignore. It made it seriously difficult to pay attention to what was happening when like I couldn't tell if the things were syncing up and it didn't make sense to me and my brain couldn't catch up. I thought restarting the game might fix it, but that didn't do it. I also ran into this when I came back to replay the game for a bit of clean footage, and that didn't do it either. That's after a full uninstall and reinstall, so I really don't know why, but I hate this. The story, however, was only set dressing for me, unfortunately. I was never engrossed to the point of feeling that I needed to keep going to learn more. I more so just kind of felt like I should play just to see what happens. This does not mean it was objectively bad, but unfortunately, if we return to the original questions, me being a new player, it didn't do too great at that for me. The desync issue also left me missing important info that I didn't realize existed until later in some cases.
What?
I didn't really have questions I was looking for answers to, and the curiosity to danger ratio is usually the ratio you're looking for when you're making good horror, and in particular, good horror games. I played because I wanted to see the end, not because I was super invested. Well, at least not after the first quarter of the game. Y'all, look at this. Dimitrescu. As much as it was memes though, I was legitimately disappointed to not have the lady in the game for much longer. It's a bit of a legit danger when you have a single character start to run your ad campaign like she did.
Definition of insanity.
If they want the character and there isn't much of that character, there's gonna be some disappointment. As the game was made, I don't think Lady D would have worked for an entire game. The reworks that would have had to happen would have been serious. Plus, some of the later reveals of character stories and plot twists would have had to have been dramatically changed if they wanted this idea to work. Honestly though, fear boners aside, what they did was much better than anything they could do with Lady D as a main antagonist in my opinion. Overall, story was okay though. For legit lore people and fans, this is a Resident Evil game that made the most people cry apparently. Not certain if that's tears of fear, frustration, or attachment, but I'm not looking any further into that because this script needs to end. Wrap it up.
That's high-key my heart she just squished, bruv. That's kind of bullshit.
I enjoyed my time in Resident Evil Village way more than I originally expected. I'm pretty sure this is the first horror game I've ever played through to completion. It will hold some special memory in my heart, if nothing else, but for that. I know I bought this game off of the meme for the booba, but this damn game had its way with me at some points with some legitimately terrifying scenes. Nope! The baby scene is legitimately the scariest thing I've ever had in a video game, like ever. Shit's terrifying. I also think it proved what a good-ass Resident Evil game looks like. RE developers wanted to give you the feeling of being the dumb blonde bitch that falls in the woods because they're scared. And well... Oh God! Holy shit, where'd you come from? Oh, you're all up. You're all up. I'm so fucked. I'm dead. They succeeded. I think I will keep horror games away for quite some time, assuming chat will let me.
No.
But I did have fun. For all the fear I walked in with, I've got a full experience of, yes, obviously fear and scares.
Oh God!
But also confidence.
I don't have to be scared of people like you.
Melancholy, a bit of anger.
I don't want none of it.
And then more fear to start the cycle over again. It was beautifully paced, with a satisfying tale and fun mechanics that reinforced a lot of the ideas it chose to go towards, and I appreciate that. I think that this is something that puts a nice period at the end of my Resident Evil experience, and I'm glad that it ended in such a nice way that I can close the story just as nicely and as creepily as it opened.
I can tell you that we have decided to create a DLC.
Didn't ask, don't need it, go fuck yourself. Hey guys, it's Perk, and I am so happy to know that this video is finally out for you to see, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor, hit that motherfucking like button. Just let me know that you made it to the end. Let me know that you enjoyed it. If you did, you can dislike it. Nobody's gonna see it except me, and it'll just make me feel bad. So, don't do that. I worked super hard on this, and I also had a lot of help in working on this. I want to give a quick shout out to all the people who helped me make this and all the people who are helping me make stuff right now. I want to give a quick shout out to all the people down in the description. All the links will be there. And then I also want to give love to Gold, who didn't help directly with this project, but is helping me by keeping me focused and by helping edit the Chime archives. If you guys haven't been over there, it's literally where there are VODs of everything I ever streamed. So if you guys would like to see what it was like for me to actually play through Resident Evil, you can actually watch the entirety of it. It's already up and over on the Chime archives. Feel free to check that out. It's all over there on the Chime VODs channel and on my Twitch channel is where we streamed it. If you want to see me play games like this live, I will be streaming them live on twitch.tv/percolate. Feel free to come check me out over there. That's where we play this game and future games that will be used in the series like these. So if you guys would like to see some of this shit live,
Not a bitch.
go over there and come check me out. It's a good time. I have a good time. We love playing fucking video games, and I love dissecting them. And then I love looking into the fucking history because I'm a fucking nerd. With all that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Guys, it's been Perk Lane. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.